Hello, everyone. My guest today is Payman Taei. He's an avid technologist, loves new trends, and tries to stay updated. His background is in biology and has led him to truly believe in the art of evolution. Everything changes with time. You either follow or create new trends or you'll be left behind. He founded a company called HindSite, which was an interactive digital agency in 2001. And out of that, in 2014, he incubated his current company, Visme, one of the leading presentation infographic tools online, empowering over 1 million businesses, nonprofits, and individuals from over 90 countries, including NASA, IBM, and SONY, to help improve the way ideas are visualized into engaging presentations, infographics, and other forms of visual content. Payman, are you ready to take us to the top?
I'm good. Nicely said, my man.
All right. So give me the name correctly pronounced.
Visme.
Visme. Do you ever have issues with that? Like when your sales reps are on the phone and they're like, yeah, go to visme.com. And they're like, how do you spell that?
No sales reps, but it's more of people reading, about it, content marketing and so on. And depends, in Europe, they tend to say Visme. And then in the US, they tend to get it right. They just say Visme.
Interesting.
So, yeah,
okay.
As long as they find us on the web, that's okay. They can call it what they want.
Yep. So presentations, infographics, how do you make money? Is it a pure play SaaS model?
Yeah, we're a SaaS model. Everybody starts free, so they can play around with it. And there's certain, features and templates and assets and additional functionalities that are unlocked in the premium plans.
Okay. And I mean, give me a sense, are you working SMB, mid-market, or enterprise? What's the average, plan per month?
Well, so we have a couple plans and we have an enterprise. Basically, there's a free version and there's the standard model, which starts off at, I'm going to tell you the monthly price because, of course, in yearly you get discounts. So that's $19 a month. Okay. And then we have the complete plan, which is a higher plan, and that's $30 a month. But if people go, annual, they get a good 30 or so % discount off of each of those. Enterprise is a little bit more expensive. And we also have team plans, which basically is the complete plan, just times the number of users that purchase it.
Yep. So it's like $19 a seat, basically.
Yeah, 19 starting, and then there's 30. So we have, both sides. A lot of people start standard and they go upgrade. So
what would you say the average is, just to avoid going down every customer cohort?
Yeah, it's right in between. So if I was to pretty much give you a quick estimate, would be take the average. So it's in the low 20s. Actually, a lot of people go annual, so they get a nice discount, and that's what actually brings the per user cost down a little bit. But at the same time, they stick with us for a while. Yep.
All right, give me the backstory. When did you launch it?
All right, so we are still in beta. If you notice on the website, we pretty much might be the SaaS with the longest beta period ever, which will very, very soon going to be changing. But we started developing this thing back in 2012 or so as just a side project at HindSite. HindSite, just a digital agency, used to do a lot of Flash work. I did a lot of award-winning Flash design work and so on. And so, of course, the iPhone came out and that knocked things down. It really shook things up. And that's where in my bio you hear about me talking about evolution and so on. That really, showed me how it works in business. So very quickly, Visme was just a little internal project to be for animations for non-designers, for designers initially, almost like a Flash replacement. Long story short, by the time we launched a little focus group, we realized that people really don't care about that. Most of the audience are non-designers and they're just trying to create slideshows and so on. So real quickly, light bulb went off, and my mission started on wanting to make Visme the one tool that you use to create all types of visual content. So I don't care if you want to create a presentation or a visual report or a social graphic or an infographic, which is becoming more popular. There should really be one user interface, one tool that gives you great things from start to end. So that's how it all.
And why are you still in? 2012 was 6 years ago. Why are you still in beta? Is this just a marketing thing?
Well, and not necessarily. I'm kind of a perfectionist. I really want the tool to be where I'm comfortable with saying it is, ready for prime time. The reality is that partially marketing, I could have taken this off 2 years ago. This could have been off 2 years ago. Now, when I say 2012, we didn't really actually even present it to people with a very, very small group of people back in 2013. And we didn't even launch a premium plan until it was sometime in 2014.
So just to be clear, when was your first dollar of revenue? What year?
It was, I'm actually going by memory here. I believe it was in mid 2014 when we just actually turned it on. So everybody was using it free for a period of time, very, very slow. We didn't really do much marketing or promotion, just let people come in and give feedback and use it. And we very, very slowly started off as a premium model. And it wasn't really until just a couple of years ago that we got more serious with things. And now we're going full pace.
And what have you scaled to now in terms of total customers?
Of course, there's free users and then there's paid.
Not free users, yeah, just
Yeah.
customers.
So customers, so there's two things that I don't really disclose openly, but I'll give you ranges. It is the total number of customers that we have paying, and it is also the exact revenue that we're doing. But I'd be happy to talk about other things. However, with that said, it's over 1 million registered users, and out of that, it really was around when it was 250, 300 users that we even rolled out the paid plan. So it's really in the range of approaching about 10,000.
10,000 paying.
Exactly.
Okay, got it. Well, and walk me through, you, before I even like pushed you really hard, prefaced it by saying like you don't like sharing this kind of stuff. I mean, why people will hear that and go, wait, is he like, why is he saying that? Is he hiding something? Why do you do that?
Absolutely nothing to hide. It's just more, I feel like we're a private company, so there's certain information I'm very transparent and open about. And there's a couple things, such as exact revenue numbers and the number of users.
Strategically, where does it hurt you though? So some people would argue, hey, let's publish monthly income reports. It's a great piece of content. It'll get us new customers. Others will say, that's so stupid. I don't want my customers to see all my, or my competitors to see all my data.
It's not necessary. I think it's more of, just more of a personal preference at this time. And at some point, I'm sure we're going to be opening up later on. It's just really more of a decision at this time that we have. But I don't think it's going to destroy us or anything. I think we're happy with where we're going. Growth rates are great.
What's a great growth rate? What do you mean by that?
So we are growth rates we're happy with. We're pretty much doubling every year. User base and also revenue has been pretty much close to 90 to 100% rate the last couple of years.
Yeah, I mean, by the way, Payman, I mean, you've given me enough information to back into a minimum. I mean, you know that, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so I mean, I can take 10,000 customers times a $23 price point and say you're doing north of 230 grand a year right now. I mean, a month right now. That's accurate, correct?
I mean, you could look at I'm giving you around 10,000, so it could be a little bit higher than that, lower than that. So you can check the numbers.
Yeah, but I mean, just to be clear, you could also, I mean, you're not saying it's like 1 to 10,000. When you say 10,000, that's plus or minus 1,000 in that range, right?
It's not 1,000.
Yeah.
It's not 18,000.
So why are you? I mean, so let's say you're doing about 200 grand per month right now in revenue. I mean, why are you? I don't understand why you'd call yourself still in beta. I mean, you're generating profit revenue.
I mean, we are profitable, and we're happy with. It's about the product itself, and this is going to happen literally over the next month when we will be releasing out of beta. We're pretty much going to be removing the beta out of all around the products. I just feel that there's a lot of products out there, and they come out of beta way too early. And, in a way, I mean, look, it's hurt us because companies come look at us and they see the beta and they abandon because they're like, you guys are not ready yet. Because
what's your churn rate right now?
The churn rate is it's around 7 to 7.5%. But there is one thing though about it, and that in our type of business, we have two types of users. About 25-30% of our users are in the education market. Okay?
Oh gosh, like hell. Horrible market.
So they come in and they use it and they get a semester. We have a nice education discount and we have, classroom discounts and so on. And so they get it and they really need it for a semester. They need it for a month or two. But the beauty of it is that they tend to come back some months later. So, when I say that rate, I look at the churn as far as in the last 60 to 90 days, did they come back or not and renew? But some of these people actually go back comes next semester. That might be 5 months later, 8 months later. So, we don't really count that into our, customer base in essence, as far as, paying customers when they drop off. If they don't renew within 60 to 90 days, they pretty much are a churn for us. But realistically, though, a lot of them do tend to come back. But the churn rate is actually lower when it comes to companies. They get team plans and some that go on an enterprise, or they're just, one individual within an established business and so on. They really don't churn. They stay for a while. So that if I was to just base it on that one, it's going to be lower. But if I look at the total average, then certainly it is in that 7.5%.
Yeah. And is that, just to be clear, that's gross logo churn per month?
It is the gross. Yes, that is correct.
Okay.
And we look at
it's logo, not revenue, right?
That is correct.
Okay. Got it. I imagine your revenue churn is probably lower than that because you churn cheap customers.
Yes, but then also the renewal rate. Remember that some of them go and come back and renew later. And in fact, some of the ones that drop off on a monthly, they tend to come back and just renew for a year. You know what I mean?
That's really tough, by the way. I've talked to a lot of people that listen to the show, and many of them have the same problem. It's like a semi-seasonal business, and they don't like counting them as churn because they've seen user stories where they cancel for 6 months, and they come back, and they just don't know how to report that. They don't know how to talk about it. I mean, how do you measure that?
We're not really measuring right now, other than we do see that there's trends on it. And so we're working on working that into maybe a secondary churn number, where we say, our true churn rate and versus the one that industry wise, as a SaaS model people look at. And again, remember that a lot of times, there's we're kind of B2B, and then we have a B2C side of us. And the B2C side of us, the churn rate is certainly higher, right?
Yep.
And when I say B2C, that could be the education. That would be the individual just needs to create one presentation and they're done for the next 6 months, a year. So that certainly does affect that in that matter. I think we're going to have to almost, again, maybe there's better metrics, maybe, there's suggestions from others out there, but so far the way I look at it is that we might have to look at it two ways, the average industry churn and then the actual one that we look at in two different ways.
Have you bootstrapped the company or raised?
No, we have not raised. This has been fully bootstrapped. And so not a penny.
That's good. That's good stuff. I like hearing that. And what's the team size today?
We are right now at, taking our ad, a couple people, we just came on board. We're like at 15 right now.
Okay, 15 people.
So yeah, we're growing it's been, this Visme isn't like one of those stories, and I'll share that with you, where there has been this exponential growth. It's just been steady. It's kind of like a line. If I take our, the chart from our user base to our customers, everything else, it's just a steady increase. And sure, I'd be happy with more of an exponential raise, but at the same time, though, we're to a point where we know that we've got traction. We have great feedback from users, and we just see kind of a long roadmap that will continue on. I don't see a drop-off rate. I see an increase, and potentially, I think over the next year or two, there could be more of it.
You kind of hunch your shoulders a little bit while you're telling me this, like it's a bad thing.
Oh, I don't think it's a bad thing, but it's a great question. I
think it's a damn good thing, by the way. That's how you get filthy rich. You build a company that you own all of, you drive revenues, and you start paying yourself more and more every month in dividends and reinvest in the company or elsewhere.
Well, absolutely. I agree with that. I mean, I'll give you one example. So this one we can, I'll be more open, and it gives you some.
You're going to tell me your salary, right?
Yeah, I'm going to give my salary. It's pretty low, man. So, in my humble opinion, though, remember that I run a web agency, and I still do. And actually, it's kind of, very small and steady, just about 5-6 people on that one. And, and I have to look at it. I mean, not everybody has that advantage, right? So when I first started it, it wasn't a multi-million-dollar operation as far as my other agency goes at all. But it's just been, I started in 2001, and little by little, it generated income, it paid my bills. And so when I started it, I just kind of incubated Visme out of that, one developer and me, and just working on it. And little by little, worked it into Visme. And in fact, the revenue, when we started the Visme product, here's the thing. I actually started this tool called, it was an HTML editor. Okay, so back in like 2006, 2007, when WordPress wasn't that popular, everybody's site was HTML based. So at my web agency, they would come and say, hey, I need to edit my website, and the CMS system is too expensive. So we just created this very simple tool that people just connect with their FTP, connect to their site, just edit the content. That's it. Wasn't a site builder. And that actually grew to about a, 8 to 10K a month business. And I just took all that revenue and just, put it back into Visme.
What did you do with that company? You sell it?
No, it's still around. In fact, Visme is like the name of the brand, and Easy Web Content is basically the formal company, the brand. So that product is actually just self-running. It has like.
What's it doing now in terms of monthly revenue?
It drops off more and more each month, but it's down to like literally 3 to 4K.
Why do you find someone real quick, some hustler college student with some parents' money to buy it? Like, why don't you sell it to somebody?
I'll tell you why. Because if I was to sell it, it's a reduced in revenue business, right? So it's not going to sell for a lot. It's not going to sell for multiple times to that. But when I look at it, in the last 3 or 4 years, even you take it at, hey, 3 years ago it was doing 5-6K, and then before that, you add all that up, and it's and without any support, pretty much, it's just generating that revenue every single month. And eventually, I think it could generate.
Wait, why do you hold on? Sorry, why do you look at past earnings to predict future potential cash flow when it's declining?
It is no, so I'm not looking at it as far as it's going to remain at 3K. It's going to go down every
Oh,
month.
okay, okay.
So yeah, absolutely. So what I'm looking at is that I still feel that it is going to generate some revenue as it goes down to zero over a period of time.
Got it.
And it requires very little.
What do you think it'll make you in the next 6 months?
That tool?
Yeah.
I don't think more than, I'm just going to take out, I don't think more than 15 to 20K.
Yeah.
You know?
So what if I wrote you a check? What if I wrote you a check right now for 15 grand? You get the money now, you reinvest it, I get the company.
Well, because after that 6 months, I think it could generate another 10 or 12K, you know?
And
And
maybe, or it just goes down to, blah, 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 keeps going. In all seriousness, let me know if you get interested in selling it. The only reason you do it is if you wanted the cash now versus waiting the slow, painful cash flow death.
No, I think we're okay on Visme. The cash that we're generating and so on, we're profitable. So really, honestly, the 15, 20K wouldn't do much.
Doesn't it kind of hurt you a little bit to see one of your babies is slowly dying? You're not giving it the love to grow it because you have Visme?
And no, because I really, my passion is towards Visme. This tool was something that, I think it was actually one of the best investments I ever made, because I built it literally with like 10 or 12K of development costs, and it's generated, I think, over the last 8, 9, 10 years, almost $1 million.
Yeah. But I'm saying, like, why don't you let someone with some passion come in and get it going again, turn things around?
I don't think the HTML editor, thanks for WordPress and all the other CMSs. It's just,
you think it's dead.
I think it's,
All right. Do. Okay. Last few economics questions here before we wrap up with the famous 5. So 15 folks, obviously you're bootstrapped, so you're running it profitably, correct?
Absolutely.
Okay. CAC, what are you spending to acquire customers?
So pretty much majority of our all users, they just come through our content. We have a really good blog, through organic and so on. So when we actually spend money, which is very little on a ad space, and is pretty much mostly on AdWords and so on, it's just a few areas that we want to tap into, and the infographics and so on, that we don't feel that we get the proper positioning yet. We're moving up, and in those areas, when I look at it, the CAC is under $75. So
now, what about fully weighted though? I mean, what do you take? I mean, include your writers, your blog people, anyone creating content, and like divide the number of new customers per month into their salaries.
I don't have the number in front of me.
That's okay.
But it certainly is. It generates. I mean, it definitely is in a positive area, but I don't have that exact number.
Got it. So $75 CAC at a $20 ARPU. I mean, what it takes you 3-4 months to get your money back. Is that about right?
Pretty much. I mean, yeah, unless they on a month-to-month basis, some of them just go early and pay $200 something for a complete plan, and that will more than well for it.
And then, what do you assume these customers are worth to you over their lifetime?
The LTV, currently we're measuring at around in the 200 area. Around 210 is the last estimate that I did. But again, it's the education and the one-time user that really, brings that down. It's significantly higher when we talk about like a team plan. When we have a company that's got 25 users or 10 users and so on, they stay with us for years. They've been with us for 3-4 years. Since the beginning almost, those certainly are very valuable. And
your whole team based up there in Montgomery County, or no?
So we have a couple individuals outside. We have an individual in Japan, a few people in terms of from the support bases, and some data entry and so on in the Philippines. But yeah, the rest is all here, right here.
And where are you?
I am right here in the Maryland area. So DC, literally 15, 20 minutes north of it.
Yep. Good stuff. All right. Last question here on growth, and then we'll wrap up. So just, again, you said you're growing about 100% year over year, call it 200-ish today. If you go back 13 months, I mean, you're doing about 100 grand then. Is that accurate?
No, I think it's a little off, but your calculations, I know that you're running them. They're not exact. So your numbers are in somewhat of a range that I would give. But we were doing less than that, actually.
Okay, so that means your growth rate was potentially a little bit higher. Yeah.
It has, last year was, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so can we just we'll put a minimum. So less than 100 grand, but more than 50 grand. Is that fair?
I will put it somewhere in between that range.
Okay, good.
It wasn't 100, and it wasn't as low as 50. Yeah.
Good. All right.
And your numbers that you're calculating based on right now, they're not very accurate. They're in a range. So,
hold on, Payman. So you're backtracking, and when someone backtracks on my show, what it tells me is I've painted a picture that makes them look way bigger than what they actually are.
Well, you're in a range where I think it needs a buffer of about 25%. I'll give you that. So you can go up higher, you can go lower.
Got it.
You can't
So
disclose.
if I take, instead of 10,000 customers, if I shave off 25% of that and say you only have about 7,500, multiplying times that $23 price point, that puts you at about 170 grand per month. I don't care about what you're actually at. I care about a minimum. That's all.
I can't disclose that information.
But Payman, I'm just using the numbers you just gave me.
Well, you're using estimates that I'm giving you. You're taking a number of 10K that I'm giving you.
And you said I'm 25% to, I need 25% wiggle room. I cut off 25% and you say, no, that's not right.
I'm just giving you that there is a range. So I can't tell you exactly what down it is and how it is. And
Payman, you just told me 25%. I'm not making that up. I'm just using your numbers.
I did say that. I'm giving you ranges. So
25% is not a range. That's an exact percentage.
You can go to 10,000 and take it up 25%. You can take it down 25%. We're somewhere in that range, and I can't.
What range though? You haven't given, when you say up or down 25%. So the minimum would be 7,500, and I'm saying, okay, I'll give you the minimum times 23. The minimum MRR you're doing is 172.
I can't disclose the numbers. That's
that's a range. I mean, that would be the minimum, right? Payman, this is what drives me crazy. People call on my show and they talk in circles about free users, paid users, betas, not betas. That's my average. That's not my average. And then they like wiggle when I try and give them a ton of credit, which usually tells me that I painted a picture that made them look way bigger than what they actually are. Why don't you just own that?
No, I don't think it's way bigger. I don't think it's way lower. So, we'll leave it at the estimates that you're giving are not unreasonable. We're happy with where we are. And as far as the numbers you're providing, you could be off by a tiny bit more, but it's close. You're close to where we are.
And you're not comfortable just sharing a minimum. Like, are you north of 100 grand per month right now?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, but you're south of 200.
We are south of that.
Okay, so perfect. That's fair. That's a great range. That's a real range. It's something that's actually measurable, and it's something my audience can attract to and understand. All right, famous five. Number one, what's your favorite business book?
I personally read a lot of blogs, and not so much books, hardcovers, but one of my favorite is the book Hooked. So that's a book that I pick up every so often. I keep putting down, I pick up, and that's by Aaron Nadal.
Yep.
So that's a great book.
Number two, is there a CEO you're following or studying?
There's a couple. So I actually, one is Ben Chestnut. I heavily look up to him from MailChimp. It's amazing what they've done, especially, of course, from a bootstrap aspect. And also Hiten Shah. He's one of my favorites, just great content, very open about how they build a SaaS and so on. So those are the two that I follow closely.
Number three, what's your favorite online tool for building your business?
Visme.
No, besides your own.
No. So BuzzSumo, we use that a lot. Great tool. That's a tool that we've been on for a couple of years.
Number four, how many hours of sleep do you get every night?
I tell every night my plan is 8, and unfortunately it's 5 to 7. So my son woke me up 5 in the morning. I think I wasn't at 5 earlier last night.
How many kids do you have total?
I have one, 18 months.
Okay. Yeah. All right. And married, single?
Married.
Married,
yes.
One kiddo. And how old are you?
I'm way old, man.
No,
41.
You're not way old. All right, 41. Last question. What do you wish your 20-year-old self knew?
Yeah. So I would say is leave your ego at the door if you're going to start a business company, and you got to get ready to mop the floors, and because you're going to have to get your feet wet.
There you guys have it from Payman. You're gonna have to get your feet wet, mop the floors, leave your ego at the door. He made it tough on me. I had to beat a little bit. But anyways, what a story. 2012, had an agency, built Visme as a side project. It's since scaled. He's going all in on it, growing on about 100% year over year. North of 7,500 customers, doing somewhere between 100 grand and 200 grand per month right now. Again, growing 100% year over year. Average customer paying about $20 per month. Churn's a problem. He's figuring out how to solve it. 7% gross logo churn per month. When he does spend money to acquire customers, it's about $75. So he gets paid back in about 4 months with his team of 15 based in Maryland and other remote locations. Again, helping SMBs with visual and larger teams with visual content, visual presentations, and just making things beautiful. Payman, thank you for taking us to the top.
Hey, Nathan, great stuff, by the way. Love your blog and love your show here. And so I hope everything goes well, and need support from us, let me know.